Welcome to the Utah Homebuyers Quest podcast with Nelson Bars. Our mission is to give you hope, knowledge, and encouragement on your quest for home ownership.
Housing affordability is at its worst point since 1986.
Higher mortgage rates are impacting Utah's housing market. Potential buyers out there being priced out.
It's getting tougher by the day to afford a home.
Many factors are making it very, very difficult with no relief in sight.
Homeownership may seem like an impossible mountain to climb in today's world. We're here to say that it is possible, and we're here to be your guide, to climb with you, to urge you forward all the way to the closing table. We believe in home ownership, and we believe in you.
Well, hello, homebuyers, and welcome back to another episode of the Utah Homebuyers Quest podcast. I'm Nelson Bars. I'm a mortgage broker, have been for about 24 years. I've helped hundreds and hundreds of people buy homes, and I'm here to help you get ready and succeed in your quest for home ownership. Today, we're going to talk about buydowns. I don't know if you've heard that word. I'm going to define it for you. It's a really powerful way to make your payments more affordable. And honestly, that's probably one of the biggest obstacles right now in our market, especially for first-time home buyers, is figuring out a way to make that monthly payment manageable. So let's define what a buydown is. And I want you to know there are two different kinds of buydowns: temporary versus permanent. And I'm going to explain the differences, but basically you're paying upfront fees in exchange for a lower monthly payment. So a lot of times you'll hear this defined as paying points or discount points, and sometimes even origination fees serve the same purpose. So your closing costs go up, but in exchange the interest rate goes down. And a lot of people will ask me, hey, what about paying points? What can I do to get a lower rate? And when we look on the permanent side, it's not as exciting as you might think. You might pay $5,000 to $10,000 to get a quarter off the interest rate for the life of your loan for 30 years. And the thing is, you kind of got to keep that lower rate for about 5 years most of the time for that to break even. You got to save enough on a monthly basis over 5 years to offset the cash you paid up front to get the buydown, right? So that's how the permanent buydown works. And then the problem is it's not very exciting. It's not very smart if you're trying to do that and refinance later. If your mindset is, marry the house and date the rate, and you want to buy a house now and maybe in a year or two, if rates go down, we can refinance, then it's not a very good idea to pay a bunch of points to get a permanent rate. Why would you buy this sexy, exciting rate that you're not going to keep long term? So I'm in cases where people are thinking short term, which is just about everyone right now, I think you should be much more focused on lower fees than lower interest rate. Of course, it's a balancing act because the interest rate makes your payment go up, so you can't go crazy on this, but I don't like to see my clients paying $10,000 right now to buy a permanently lower rate. Just maybe it's a quarter, maybe it's a half point better. I don't think they're going to keep the loan long enough to justify that. Now, what I do like right now is a temporary buydown. So let me explain how a temporary buydown works. Instead of buying a lower rate for the life of the loan, you're just buying it for the first year or two. So you're front loading all the benefits into the beginning term of your loan. And these temporary buydowns come in a lot of different flavors. The most common one is a 2-1 buydown. What that means is you're going to get 2% off the rate for year one, and then 1% off the rate for year two. Another flavor of this is a 1-1 buydown. So that would get you 1% off the rate for year one and 1% off the rate for year two. You see how that works? There's also a 1-0 buydown, which is basically a 1 year, 1 point discount off the rate. And you can even do like a 3-2-1 buydown, although that one gets really expensive. You would have to ask your seller to pay a lot. Now, that's the thing about these temporary buydowns. There is no way for the buyer to pay for it. If you think about it, it just doesn't make sense for you to put your own money aside, and that's what this is, to pay your future mortgage payments. But if it's coming from the seller, then there's a benefit to you in lowering your costs without more cash out of pocket for you. So let me explain. Let me show you. I've got a sample client here that I'm going to show you. This is actually a client that is out making an offer today. And I'll just show you how this works. You can see here that they, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see this. If you're listening, I'll walk you through it. This buyer is buying a condo, and it's priced at $300,000. So it's a very small first-time home buyer type of condo. And the permanent rate is 6.5%. She's paying points. She is actually paying almost 1% of her loan amount, so it's $2,700 in order to get a permanent buy down to 6.5%. Unfortunately, without some points, you're going to end up with 7 or worse right now. So, I'm not trying to quote rates for anyone as of today. I'm just showing you this client's example. So she has chosen to do a bit of a buy down, but nothing extreme. It's only $2,700 that she's paying to get a permanent rate that is at least manageable for her. Now, because she's doing a 2-1 buy down, I've written it out. She has her payment in year 1 is $1,925 per month, and this includes her HOA fees and everything involved in her payment. So she had a goal of getting her payment under $2,000 a month. Her payment for year 2 is going to step up to $2,103, and then for the third year and thereafter, we're back to the permanent rate. The permanent payment in her case, it's $2,290. So you can see she's shaving almost $300 off her payment. In fact, it's more than $300. It's almost $375 off her payment for the whole first year. And the seller would pay for that. So the cost of this buy down for her, it's about $6,800. So her realtor is going to make an offer for this house at $300,000 and ask for the seller to pay $6,800 towards closing costs so that we can do this 2-1 buy down, this temporary buy down. Now the cost is it's not that easy to calculate. It's not always going to be $6,800. It's a function of the loan amount and the interest rate and what flavor of buy down you're going to do. So if you did a 3-2-1 buy down, it's going to probably more than double that number. If you do a 1-0 buy down, then it's only like a third of the cost that I just explained to you. So it depends on how much the seller is willing to pay, and it depends on your loan amount, how much you're borrowing. I've seen these buy downs cost $7,000, $8,000, $9,000 to pay for a temporary buy down, and the sellers in this market are actually most of the time willing to do it. That's the thing about buying now. It's really nice in the market today. I'm recording this on June 24th, 2025, and sellers are almost always willing to give some concessions and to help pay for closing costs. And a lot of people are using that for a temporary buy down. Most of my first-time home buyers and even a lot of my move-up buyers are using a 2-1 buy down to get temporary relief for the interest rate. And the mindset is we're hoping that rates will fall enough in the next 2 years to be able to refinance, pay off the mortgage with a new one with a lower fixed rate than what's available today. Does that make sense? Now, if you were to wait, this is the part that is kind of scary. Let's say you're waiting on the sidelines because you want rates to come down. Well, when rates come down, I can tell you when they get into the 5s, we're going to see a lot of buyers coming out of the woodwork. It happened last year. Rates were tipping into the 5s for a short while, and the buyers were just everywhere. People were moving out of mom and dad's basement and ready to come and buy a house because the payments became a little bit more affordable. Now, if you're a buyer in that market, it's going to be very difficult to get a seller to pay any closing costs for you. You're going to be competing with 3 or 4 other buyers, most likely, on any good house that hits the market. So right now, there's less competition as a buyer, and it's more common to have sellers doing these kind of concessions. Later, it's going to be very difficult when it becomes more of a seller's market and they have plenty of buyers to choose from. This kind of thing goes away. There's just not sellers are just not as willing to do this when they have other offers that don't ask for that kind of thing, right? Okay, so there's a sample for you. The way this is calculated, the cost of this buy down, it's literally just the total of the monthly savings. So you just add it up, and what happens is the seller pays the money, and the lender holds that chunk of money. In this case, it was $6,800 in an escrow account in your name, and the lender uses a little bit every month to subsidize your payment, right? So what happens if you sell or refinance before the 2 years are up? In this case, if she were to refinance after 1 year, she would probably have something like $2,000 or $3,000 left in the escrow reserve, and that, again, like I said, is hers. They would actually credit that towards the payoff and lower the payoff when you're paying off the mortgage, and that would happen if you're selling or refinancing the house. So it's actually a great way. You capture that benefit from the seller, put it in the escrow account. You won't lose it. It doesn't go away. In fact, you can think of it as it's money that's going to help pay for your refinance later. That's going to credit towards your payoff, and you won't be rolling in quite as much closing costs when you refinance in the future. So let me ask you this. Which one is right for you? A permanent buy down or a temporary buy down, or maybe both? It really depends on your time frame, your long-term plan. If you're going to keep this home forever, and here's the caveat, if you're going to keep this loan forever, then a permanent buy down makes a lot of sense. Back when rates were at 3%, 4%, people were willing to pay some points. Sounds crazy. Weren't they happy with those rates? Well, they were willing to pay some points because the math works out. If you're going to keep this loan for a long time, you can actually save tens of thousands of dollars over 30 years by getting a permanent rate that's a quarter better, right? So in today's market right now, everyone who I talk to who's buying is planning to refinance if and when rates come down in the future. So again, that's why I'm advising most of my clients to do some small level of permanent buy down, or none at all. That's up to you. And then front load the benefits of a temporary buy down for the first 2 years to help you have an affordable payment while rates are high. And then hopefully, there's no guarantee of this, but hopefully before the third year, before the rate hits that permanent level, you'll be able to refinance to a more affordable permanent payment. The other thing, this is really good for someone who is looking at their income increasing. A lot of first-time home buyers are still in school. They're working on certifications. They see a raise coming in the next year or two. This is a way for them to get into a house now while the market is favorable for buyers, and then they can afford the step-up payments based on their planned raises and promotions and career changes, or things like, hey, we know a car is about to pay off, and so next year, when the payment steps up $300, our car payment goes away, and we can afford that too. So you just kind of got to map out your long-term plan, and then there's no guarantee that rates will go down, but hopefully even if they don't, your income will go up, your budget will get better, right? So there you have it. This is the way that most of my first-time buyers are doing it right now. And like I said, even the move-up buyers, you think about it, the monthly payment on a $500,000, $600,000 house can be overwhelming, especially for someone who's moving out of their starter home with a 3% rate, and they're trying to move into something in the 6% rate range and doubling the mortgage amount. So this 2-1 buy down is very popular at all price levels right now. And I'd love to help you explore it. I'd love to show you how it works for your situation and help you find a good agent if you need one who can negotiate this kind of thing. It's happening every day in our market. And I think it could be the solution to help you get into a home now, even before rates go down. I'd much rather be a refinancer when rates go down than a buyer. I feel for those people who are going to be waiting on the sidelines now and later trying to throw their hat in the ring and competing with so many other buyers in the future when rates do go down. It'd be better to own a house already, in my opinion, and just refinance to those lower rates at that time. Okay, there you have it. I hope that was helpful for you. Hope it gives you another way to expand your options and your thinking. And if this is something you'd like to learn more about, I would welcome your call and an opportunity to teach you more. Thanks again.
Thank you for listening to the Utah Homebuyers Quest podcast with Nelson Bars, your place for a strong dose of inspiration and knowledge so you can stay on top of your quest for home ownership. If you have a question or comment for the show, we'd love to hear from you. Visit homebuyersquest.com to record a voice memo or submit your question. You can also join our Facebook community to interact with experts and fellow travelers. Search Homebuyers Quest on Facebook to find the group and join the conversation. But with just a simple click to subscribe, we'll invite you back to the next episode. And remember, we believe in home ownership and we believe in you.